what I'm gonna do in order to get the pattern that I want is I'm gonna fold this in half and draw it on the shirt in a way that is symmetrical. So I want the design to be a little bit like, here, let's do this. There we go. I want the design to be kind of a little bit further up than like halfway down. Because when you think about it, like most shirt designs, if you look at my shirt, for instance, is like further up, closer to your head. There's a stick. Okay. So I'm just gonna draw, since we're thinking about the Eye of Sauron, right? That's the look that I'm going for here. I'm gonna take my pen, and I'm gonna think, okay, so it's like a cat eye, right? So what you'll do is you'll just take your pen and you'll draw, sorry if you can't see this because it's a highlighter, but I wanted to use a lighter color so that it won't show up in the final result as much. So I'm gonna take the pen and just sort of draw like a, what's a good way to describe this? Just a curve, you know, not like a half circle, because that's not what cat eyes are, you know, just a curve. And you also have to think about like where the rest of the eye is gonna go. So you know what, I might actually do it just a little bit lower. And that goes to show too, like, you can make mistakes, just keep going, you know? The best time to make mistakes is early in the process. It's easy to fix it. I sound like Bob Ross. Anyway, so yeah, I'm doing a nice big pupil, because it really do be watching all of Middle Earth, you know? Gotta have a big pupil to watch everybody. Cool, dope. That was spicy. And you know what, I'm actually not done yet. So, I'm gonna go, and we're gonna think, okay, so the outside of the Eye of Sauron kind of just starts at the top of that pupil, doesn't it? And then just goes in a half circle. And I actually have a handy dandy little template right here. Isn't that fun? Don't we love? You know what, that's actually not the right size. Never mind, cut that out. Okay, so we're gonna go and we're just gonna approximate the absolute best half circle you ever did draw in your whole life, okay? We're just gonna go whoop. And you know what, it's even kind of a cool effect if it goes a little bit beyond the half circle to be a little more eye-shaped, I guess. But it's gonna be easier if it's a half circle, just because of the nature of tie-dye. So we're gonna do all sorts of lines in all sorts of different directions. But the end goal is that you want it to look like I don't know if you can see that at all. And so the next phase, also I should say it is important to wear gloves throughout this, because this stuff will stain your hands and it will not come off, and your mom will be angry at you, and you don't want that, do you? Okay, so what I'm gonna do in order to get that oblong shape for the iris is I'm just gonna take it and I'm gonna pinch it right here. Like, oh my goodness, okay. You take it and you just tie it off. Obviously I'm having issues. It's hard to do this with wet gloves, I will admit. Okay, we're in business. I mean, I guess you could do this part without gloves. Just anytime you're handling the dye, make sure you got something on your hands. Cool, and so once you pleat that, make sure that for the most part, I mean, you can go through and like sort of fluff it, which is what I'm doing, just to make sure that it's all sort of in a straight line. But just make sure that, you know, it's nice and sort of even with itself on the edge of where you had folded it, because that's what's gonna make it the shape. And yeah, there we go. I mean, it'll be a little messed up because it's tie-dye, you know, the whole appeal of tie-dye is the effect that it gives, I think, in my opinion. That's what I like about it. And then the eye part is easy. You just scrunch it where that line is again, and you just go and you tie it up. And you know what? I think I'm gonna, on the rest of the shirt, just for a little more intrigue, I think I might do some, just little like bubbles, and I kind of want to make it symmetrical. Wouldn't that be cool? So I think I'm gonna keep it folded like this, and I'm just gonna put my little fingers in here and just go whoop, just like that, just whoop. So what I'm doing, I'm taking my hand like this and I'm putting it under the shirt and sticking my finger through, and then get in there. Okay, and then you can take it on the other side and tie it with your rubber bands. It has gotten a little dirty because my porch is kind of dirty, but it's all gonna get covered up. So who like cares, you know? That's why tie-dye is such a hippie thing, I think. It's like, who cares, man? You know, you got some cool colors and a cool design. That's literally all I care about, and it's fun. Cool. So there's that's gonna be right in the armpit. You're welcome, Katie. This is not for me, this is for Katie, my good friend and coworker who is editing this video. I hope she's making me look good. Now what I'm gonna do, I have my dye here. This is my red. I got my black dye, which I have the most of, because I think that's what I'm gonna do all the background parts in. I might do like a little squirt of red or orange here or there, and then here's my orange, which I'm gonna use first. Well, actually no, that's a lie. I'm gonna use my black first. So I'll take my black dye. And you saw how I mixed that up earlier. Oh, there we go. And I am just gonna go for it. Oops. See, you have oopsies, it's okay. What are you gonna do, right? It leaked over a little bit, but hopefully that's not too bad. And then we're gonna take our orange. There we go. And I'm gonna kind of like concentrate this more in the middle of the eye, because I think that it'll look kind of cool to have some yellow like leaking off to the sides. That is a good orange color. I'm really happy with how that turned out. I'm just gonna let this get soaked up in the shirt. It's okay. Very cool, very cool. This is gonna turn out so cool, guys. I'm so excited. Okay, there's that, the orange, and we're gonna grab the yellow and just go on the little edges here. Maybe I'm being extra. Or maybe I'm just gonna make a really cool shirt. We'll see. We'll find out, you know? And like I said, all of this like extra stuff that gets on it, it's just part of the design. I think it's gonna look nice with it. Yeah, just add color like as you see fit. Until you're satisfied with it, you know, or until the shirt won't hold anymore. Just beware that the more color you put, the more like saturated it's gonna be overall. My biggest mistake when I was first doing like tie-dye, I mean, I'm not super experienced and I've only been doing it for a little bit, but was always never putting enough like dye, because I'm like, oh yeah, it looks great on the surface, but then you have to think like there's all these little creases. So you want to get deep in there to make sure that it gets nice and distributed. Okay, and then, so I got the eye done. I'm gonna do like a little halo of black around it just to outline it. So we're gonna take our black dye. We're gonna go boop, boop, boop. We're gonna get it in the eye, because of course we are. But yeah, we're gonna make it nice and defined, so we know what part we're trying to look at here, you know? When you're wearing this shirt on the street and people are like, oh cool, that's a pretty cool shirt that person has there. They know what part to look at, you know what I'm saying? Okay, Cool. So now, I mean, you can really go ham. Really, the world is your oyster, and I'm gonna take advantage of that. So I'm gonna go in these little pockets that I've made, and I think I'm gonna make them mostly black, I think. Because, you know what, I'm realizing that this right here, this needs a pocket, so I'm gonna add one. Just a little too plain for my taste over here. And this is right at the neckline, so it'll look kind of cool. Hopefully, my main concern right now is that iris, that pupil. I hope it comes out the way that I want it to. Nice and oblong, you know? Okay, cool. So now I think, oops, moving that around quite a lot, huh? Okay, I'm gonna go in with a little bit of yellow. Just here and there to add some fun little pops, although I think the black will end up overpowering it, but who knows, you know? We'll see. We'll find. Put some more black. Because the Eye of Sauron is, after all, quite evil. And so you need some darkness, you know? And also because it'll look cool. And you'll look super punk. And all your friends at school are gonna be like, oh my gosh, when did you get so cool? And you're gonna be like, I was always this cool. But now you're just jealous of my shirt. And you're gonna be like, and they're gonna be like, absolutely, you're so right. Okay. Skadoosh. Skadoosh. Get all in there. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, what were we gonna do with all this black dye? Perfect. Beautiful. Like, oh my god. Yeah, I'm going a little ham, but for a good reason, you know? Because it's fun. And I do want it to be pretty dark, so I want to make sure it gets nice and dark. Make sure this whole time you're trying to avoid your eye that you folded so nice and carefully earlier. Oh my goodness. My animals are having a tussle in the next room. Okay. Get there, get there. Get there, get there. Oh, and right there. Okay. So you know what? I'm pretty satisfied with this. It's starting to get a little muddy and I don't want that to happen. So I think I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead. Did that little white spot. There we go. And I'm gonna let this dry out here on my porch. Hello. So, it's been about an hour. Well, that's a lie. It's been like 2 hours. I ate and I read some, but I think this is probably soaked in sufficiently, so I'm gonna start taking off these here rubber bands. I'm really excited to see how this turns out. Ow, ow, ow. I took off my gloves, as you can see. Okay. My nails are too weak for this. I should have brought scissors out or something. Or just done that. Ooh, okay. Well, once I'm done with this, and I get to rest my eyes upon my glorious creation, I'm going to rinse it, and I'm gonna throw it in the washing machine with an old towel. I'm gonna use the towel that I've been using when I dye my hair, because it's already full of dye and it's already been corrupted. Okay, cool. So, oh, okay. It's not perfect, but it turned out pretty cool. Here is what I ended up with. That looks pretty cool. And then there's the back. Huh.